Hello everybody, here's what's coming up tonight on Now. Governor LePage is talking about letting female inmates out of prison to help with the summer work shortage. We'll talk about that.
Plus, ticks, they're awful and we've seen them everywhere this year, but now 2 cases confirmed of a horrible disease they're carrying.
Also, possible tremendous health benefits for women who take placenta pills. We'll talk about that.
This is News Center Now.
I don't hold people's past against them. If they can do what I need them now, there's no reason they shouldn't be working.
Hello everybody, I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Amanda Hill. Summer, we know, right around the corner, hopefully.
Allegedly.
And that means thousands of tourists will be coming to Maine in the next few months. But there's actually a major labor shortage right now. Businesses across the state trying to hire with no luck. So
Governor LePage is talking at least about a possibility where he would commute the sentences of some of Maine's inmates and get them to fill these jobs. News Center's Chris Costa joins us now. And Chris, how do businesses feel about this plan?
So I spoke to a couple of business owners in Old Orchard Beach, which we know is a major tourism destination. Some of them say no, they will not hire inmates, but others see it as an opportunity to fill some major gaps.
Have you not driven down the street and see help wanted, help wanted, help wanted?
The need is apparent in Old Orchard Beach. Signs in windows beg for employees. Other signs explain why.
Thank you for calling Old Orchard Beach House of Pizza. We will be closed due to a lack of skilled help.
3 days a week, owner Mikkel Kuntz will not open her doors.
It doesn't make me nervous. It's disappointing a little bit.
She says Governor LePage's idea, releasing Maine's prison inmates to get them in the workforce, is something she would support.
If they could do what I need them to, sure.
We've got to try everything we can to get people to work.
The town's Chamber of Commerce agrees.
It's time for us to think outside of the box.
Hidden Pines campground owner Jason Ahern is looking to fill positions too. He says the governor's idea has a lot of unanswered questions, though.
I would be able to take each individual on his or her own and decide at that point whether or not they'd be a good fit, felon or non-felon aside.
Mikkel says one of her employees spent time in jail, working 14 months in the kitchen.
He's my grill cook, and he's amazing. And, you know, I don't hold people's past against them. If they can do what I need them now, there's no reason they shouldn't be working.
So the governor's office tells us that the evaluations of additional inmates are in process. So that process involves the governor, the Department of Corrections commissioner, and some lawyers who do a final review of the names to decide who of those inmates will qualify.
all right, so still a process ahead either way.
Sure.
Sounds like. All right, thanks, Chris. By the way, you may have noticed the poll at the bottom of your screen. This is part of the show where we want to hear from you. Do you think it is a good idea to release nonviolent criminals to help bolster the state's workforce?
Now, we made the choices pretty simple. Yes or no. To vote, use our Pulse tool. So just open up a browser, go to pulse.newscentermaine.com, or if you're using our mobile app, just go to the Pulse tile, which is at the right of the top right there.
And that poll will stay up during the entire show. We'll reveal the results at the end of this half hour.
And a bunch of you already giving us your opinions on this topic. Brian says these people are in jail for a reason. He does not think this is a very good idea.
Joe says it depends on the job and the person. He says he has experience with a re-entry program and would like to hear more about the governor's plan.
Amanda, no relation to you, seems to be on board. She says in order to change patterns of behavior, employment is necessary.
But Jordan thinks this isn't about a worker shortage. It's about fair wages. He says if tourists, businesses paid more, they wouldn't need to rely on immigrants or prisoners.
Now, Governor LePage is getting some positive feedback from a group that's been pretty critical of him, but in the past, the American Civil Liberties Union of Maine.
Executive Director Allison Baya says the governor's decision to commute these sentences is a positive step toward ending Maine's over-reliance on incarceration. In Maine, like the rest of the nation, we lock up too many people for too long, she says, at too great a human and fiscal cost. Now, she goes on to say that these former prisoners would need job training and education for this to truly work.
But the question is, are there any limits on the governor's power to actually commute sentences? So we reached out to the Attorney General's office to find out. A spokesperson says that the governor's power to commute or pardon prisoners is absolute. He says there is nothing in the Constitution requiring the governor to notify victims, prosecutors, or law enforcement if he chooses to commute a sentence. All right, the entire state finally saw that yellow ball thing in the sky.
What is that? But, Keith, thunderstorms are passing through, sounds like.
Yeah, basically it destabilized the atmosphere enough, the sun did, to produce some thunderstorms. Let's go right to the radar and show you where they're going on. A couple of these pretty nasty. Severe thunderstorm watch box extends into western Maine, specifically a lot of it over New Hampshire right now. If you zoom in, you can see a good line coming in off the east of the Northeast Kingdom in Vermont. If we zoom into that, Berlin, one of the first areas in our viewing area, that'll get hit with what looks like a pretty nasty little kind of bow echo squall line looking area through Lancaster. It'll get into Berlin, probably with some hail. If we drop the hail tracker on this, it'll give us an idea that it's putting down at least minimal size hail, probably looking at quarter size hail here. I don't think the atmosphere and the updrafts are of the ability to give us really big hail right now. If we look to the north, you'll see a couple of these thunderstorms also that are popping up on the front end towards Jackman here. These are currently not severe. They do have, though, cloud to ground lightning. All these storms will try to move eastward. Eventually, guys, they will encounter some more stable marine air. So my guess is they die down a bit as they head towards the coastline. Still, though, something to watch.
All right, Keith, checking with you in just a little bit. In the news, a man who was shot in Portland last night is expected to recover, according to police. Officials say they're still searching for the gunman, but they do not believe there is any threat to the public. They say it's likely that the two men knew each other. The names of the men involved have not been released. Bangor High School students can start earning college credit as soon as their freshman year. Thanks to a new program with Husson University, certified teachers can teach college-level classes to high school students. It's possible those credits could be transferred to any university. You can learn more about that pretty cool program coming up tonight at 6.
And still to come on Now.
It comes in like a really cute little tin and it just looks like a multivitamin.
But it's no vitamin. We will take a look at a health fad that some new mothers swear by. Plus, ticks in Maine are spreading a disease that can lead to long-term neurological damage. Learn how to protect yourself after the break.
Ticks are on the rise this year, and today the Maine CDC confirmed that there are 2 cases of Powassan. That's a virus on the mid-coast. It's a tick-borne illness that can cause long-lasting neurological damage.
There have only been 9 confirmed cases in Maine, including these 2. Dustin Vladkowski is at the Maine CDC headquarters in Augusta. Now, Dustin, we'll start with this. What did the doctors say are the signs that you may actually have this virus?
Well, Amanda and Lee, this information comes from the state epidemiologist, Dr. Siri Bennett. She says there's quite a range of symptoms that you could possibly get if you think you have Powassan virus. Some people are completely asymptomatic. They don't actually experience any symptoms whatsoever. Other people think that they may have a cold, just like a mild fever or a headache or something like that. Then it can get more serious. The people who may have this serious disease can sometimes experience meningitis and encephalitis. That's inflammation around the neck area and inflammation in your head, a severe headache.
Way to avoid that we know of getting this?
Well, there are very few ways to actually prevent getting the virus if a tick bites you that has the virus. Because again, this is not like Lyme disease. This is not caused by a bacteria, it's caused by a virus. So you can't use antibiotics to actually treat the disease once it's inside your bloodstream. You can go to the hospital if you have really severe symptoms, and doctors can treat you for those symptoms there to try and make them less severe. That can make you healthier again while your immune system fights off the disease.
Dustin, what are some of those treatments?
Well, I mean, some of the treatments that you can have for that, I mean, you can get an intravenous bit of medication to try and calm down some of the inflammation in your body, but you know, there is not really much that you would have for treatment in terms of things that you can get at the hospital, because again, this is a virus. They can only try and control the way that your body treats it. So the similar things that you would do to calm down a fever at home.
All right, thanks, Dustin. Still to come on Now.
The image is too disturbing. I understand how it offends people. It wasn't funny. I get it.
A storm of criticism surrounding Kathy Griffin after she posted a picture of what looks like Donald Trump's severed head.
Plus, Keith has the full forecast. Good news. It includes some sun. Comedian Kathy Griffin admits she went too far criticizing President Donald Trump. She recently had a photo shoot including a likeness of him. And we want to warn you, these images are graphic, though we have blurred them. In the photos, Griffin is seen holding a bloody, severed head in the likeness of the president. Now, she's known for pushing the bar and not being afraid to offend, but after widespread condemnation, the comedian issued an apology on social media.
Hey everybody, it's me, Kathy Griffin. I sincerely apologize. I am just now seeing the reaction of these images. I'm a comic. I crossed the line. I moved the line, then I cross it. I went way too far. The image is too disturbing. I understand how it offends people. It wasn't funny. I get it. I've made a lot of mistakes in my career. I will continue. I asked your forgiveness, taking down the image, going to ask the photographer to take down the image, and I begged for your forgiveness. I went too far. I made a mistake, and I was wrong.
Now, the president was not the first to respond, but he did eventually weigh in on Twitter, saying in part, quote, "My children, especially my 11-year-old son Barron, are having a hard time with this. Sick." Secret Service also took to Twitter saying threats made against protectees received the highest priority and that social media is monitored for threats. Even the daughter of President Trump's former rival spoke against it. Chelsea Clinton said, "This is vile and wrong. It is never funny to joke about killing a president." Now, around 10 o'clock last night, President Trump sent out a tweet that had a lot of people confused. Now, it's since been deleted, but it read, "Despite the constant negative press, Covfefe." He even himself joked that people should now go try to figure out what Covfefe means.
The word has since been made into memes and other jokes, and here in Maine, someone now owns the license plate that says that. The Maine Secretary of State says someone requested that plate this morning.
Just mad I didn't think of it first.
The thing is, it's going to be over in like a few days by the time he gets the plate.
He or she has the plate now.
Well,
just saying.
Listen, good on you.
Entrepreneurial.
Anyway. Okay, don't forget to voice your opinion in our poll.
All right, we want to get a pulse on how you're feeling about the governor's plan to shorten sentences for some Maine prisoners in order to alleviate the worker shortage.
Just go to pulse.newscentermaine.com or open your mobile app on your phone and click on Pulse.
Probably like anybody else, I was like, that's weird.
Okay, it may sound weird to some, but to others, it's become a blessing.
New moms are turning to eating their placenta after their baby is born. Sonia Azad takes a look at the potential benefits for some moms.
Oh, hi, sweet girl. Courtney Gowan is a new mom of 2. Things were rocky after giving birth to her older daughter, Amelia.
My supply wasn't up, and so we had to get milk from another woman. That didn't help the depression at all.
So when Capri was born 3 weeks ago, Courtney had a plan to get her placenta encapsulated.
When I first heard of it, probably like anybody else, I was like, that's weird.
Courtney takes 3 pills a day and is already experiencing a big difference after this delivery.
I really feel like the energy is there and I'm able to actually start freezing milk.
More women like Courtney are ingesting their placenta after childbirth primarily for 3 benefits: help avoiding postpartum depression, increased milk production, and increased energy levels. Although so far there's still little research or medical evidence to back this up. Check out how it's done.
The mother of this placenta had twins, and so it's actually 2 smaller placentas. The amniotic membrane has been removed and the umbilical cord has been removed. It's been sliced and then dehydrated for 20 hours.
The placenta is blended finely. The bigger the baby, the bigger the placenta, the more pills you get. An average placenta can produce about 300 pills and costs $225.
It comes in like a really cute little tin and it just looks like a multivitamin.
Since it's not FDA regulated, experts recommend the provider is thorough and clean. Courtney did a lot of research before choosing DFW Placenta, whose medical courier picked up her placenta and made the final delivery to Courtney 3 days after hers.
I feel like this was my solution.
All right, so we have a lot of differentiating opinions here on Facebook on the story. A lot of people with no, I wouldn't, that's gross. Others saying it's absolutely not gross. It helps with milk supply, it helps with depression, and there are a lot of benefits to it. So I would say kind of a split.
I don't think it's gross.
I would say of all the ways there are to eat the placenta, the pill is probably the best.
Yeah, like you're not cooking it like a steak. But I mean, I don't think it's gross. scientifically there's very little actual research. So I just wonder if we do too many things like that now where we're like, we think this. Let's just see if there's actually any real reason for it. But if you want to do it, it's $400, right?
If it's good for the baby, if it's good for the mom, why
yeah.
wouldn't you? It's full of nutrients, so certainly lots of positives.
Food is full of nutrients too, though. Yeah, it's a little bit cheaper.
Whatever.
All right, weather. We got some severe storms out there. We were thinking about getting in stormy and try to giddy up and find them, but they're a little bit too far away. Just now rolling into kind of our forecast area here. You can see the severe thunderstorm watch in the big yellow box here, and then the warnings are in these smaller boxes. Nasty squall line coming just east out of the Northeast Kingdom, about to get into Berlin, New Hampshire, up to Cambridge, and down to Bartlett. This line, to me, just in how it's presented on the radar, looks less of a hail producer, although there's probably some small hail, more of a straight line wind threat. It's got that little bow echo look to it. So watch that as it enters Berlin here and eventually in through western Maine. Meanwhile, this little area here, which is not in the severe thunderstorm watch box, has popped up and looks kind of fierce right now, at least with its lightning production and probably some small hail here moving into Jackman and then up to the north here across Aroostook County. So those are the two areas to watch. Indications are, and kind of common sense says, that a lot of these will settle down as they get closer to the coastline and diminish by 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight. But I think western Maine and into the mountains will see some nasty storms before that, and then they drive offshore by later tonight. Tomorrow continues to be our best looking work week day. Good deal of sunshine, particularly through the first half of the day here. Temperatures respond into the 70s in a lot of spots with just isolated showers and thunderstorms. A lot of us end up dry through the whole day on Thursday. Start Friday with sunshine, and then a few showers pop up, kind of popcorn stuff, in the afternoon on Friday. So it's a messy pattern we're in. It's a disturbance. It's a cold front. It's another disturbance. And just timing them is the key. So tomorrow, again, looks like a pretty decent day. Friday starts off nice, but then a few showers work in here with this second upper level disturbance that rotates through on Friday afternoon. I do think tomorrow, because of the wind direction, because of the sunshine more specifically, temperatures will respond into the 70s in a lot of spots. And we could see some upper 70s in places like Lewiston, Freiburg, and down into Sanford. So, you know, it's not a great pattern, but it's not terrible either. And the weekend actually should be decent. I put most of us dry on Saturday because I believe the shower chance is somewhere around 15 or 20%. And if I put an icon on the map here, it confuses people into thinking it's going to rain. Most of us will be dry on Saturday. We'll be dry on Sunday. Clouds will increase, though, Sunday night. Looks nasty on Monday, though. Rainy, chilly, stays that way on Tuesday, and then partly sunny Wednesday. So, you know, summer definitely not arriving in any heroic fashion here, but we will carve out a decent weekend, as we did last weekend, too, if you think about it.
So bad.
So, as far as timing goes, not too bad.
Nasty technical term.
Nasty.
Technical, that's scientific.
It is. It's very scientific. It's right next to the studies.
Right. All right, so tomorrow is June 1st, which means despite what Keith is telling us about the weather, summer is getting closer?
Is it though? In Old Orchard Beach, preparations are underway for the transformation of the town. Since it is such a huge tourist destination, the businesses downtown spend a lot of time getting things all set for the season, so when everyone arrives, they will be ready to go.
In Old Orchard Beach, I think it's a very unique town in that we go from a very small population in the winter to a huge population in the summer, something like a little over 10,000 in the winter to could be up to 100,000 in the summer, and that happens almost overnight.
Well, isn't this ironic? We just going to be spending a little bit of time down in Old Orchard Beach. Coming up this Friday, it's a special we have here planned on now. The team will head to the beach and we will broadcast our entire show from the town square. This hot spot has quite a history and we will tell you all about it. And of course, there will be food. For us, not really you. That's in 2 days right here on Now. Unless you happen to be down at the beach, then please come on over and say
Come and say hello. Meanwhile, let's head into the newsroom for a look at what's coming up at 5:30. Hey, Rob.
Hi there, Amanda and Lee. With the school year coming to a close, a budget battle is shaping up in the city of Brewer, and it has to do with the schools. Officials say there's a budget gap of about $1 million that they need to fill. We'll take a look at one of the major reasons behind that financial problem. Also coming up, a window into the past. Wait until you see centuries-old items that are now on display. We'll tell you what makes them so unusual and where you can catch a look at them in person. Those stories and more all coming up on News Center at 5:30.
All right, Ms. Caldwell, thank you very much. Just a few minutes left to vote in our poll about the governor's plan to commute some prisoner sentences.
He wants to add more people to the workforce because Maine's tourism businesses are struggling to find employees. Do you think this is a good idea? Head to pulse.newscentermaine.com or vote on our mobile app.
We will be right back. For the last half hour, we've been asking you to weigh in on the governor's plan to commute some sentences for qualifying Maine prisoners.
So using our Pulse app, you guys voted. Most of you think this could be a good idea, but it is pretty close, 54 to 46%. So thanks for weighing in.
And we do want to bring you an update on our two Maine spellers that are competing at the Scripps National Spelling Bee. Naomi Zarin, who we met yesterday, made it through 2 rounds so far. She spelled, oh, really? Triceratops and Tarsier. Naomi is an 8th grader at Portland Friends School.
I could not do either of those, but it looks like Neil St. John from Bangor was eliminated on the word polygynous. Like, what even is that word?
I would go with polygynous.
Polygamous?
Kind of like polygamous, but with an N. Polygynous.
Good.
Unless it was actually polygamous and we spelled it wrong.
Listen,
which is
buddy,
very
I'm with
possible.
you. I don't even know the word. He didn't even.
No,
he didn't either.
Never heard of it.
Okay.
Which leads us nicely into our brain drops, which is Google released today most misspelled words by state. In reality, what they used was the data for how do you spell the following per state. And I actually think that Maine's is not embarrassing. It's pneumonia.
No, it's pretty good.
That's a tricky one.
Look at all the states that have pneumonia, too.
Pneumonia is popular in the Pacific Northwest as well. Liar for Rhode Island is slightly embarrassing.
Yeah, you should be able to get that one.
Because that's not too hard. People in Hawaii. So it's interesting to see what people.
12?
Now, gray is interesting, right? Because this is in Georgia, but my guess is this is the A or is it the E?
Well, that's not fair. If it's a word that could be spelled 2 ways, you can't ask them how to spell there because there's 3 ways you can do it.
I want to talk about New Hampshire though.
What about angel?
Diarrhea.
But why is that being spelled so often?
Why are we talking about diarrhea in New Hampshire?
In Europe.
Why is that there?
Vermont is technically the most educated state in the union, but apparently Europe escapes them.
Guys,
Guys, this finally happened, by the way. I just popped a button off of my suit.
Whoa!
Oh no!
Finally, it finally happened.
We've got to end this show now.
Let's find the button.
Where did it go?
News Center at 5:30.
There's a lot of pressure. It could have been thrown
now.
in a different.